What's going on, you guys? I'm actually really happy that you're watching this because this is probably one of the more important topics that I love talking about, that I love teaching about, that I love helping people work through. Uh, you know, Emotions, we all experience them. We all experience them. In fact, believe it or not, your amygdala, right? The seat of your emotions, is fully formed before you're even born. How crazy is that, right? But it's also the center of fear, of fight or flight inside of our bodies, right? Because we're wired, we're designed really for survival. And other parts of the body, for example, your hypothalamus, which normally could downregulate an insane fear response, doesn't really get formed until much later on. At least until age 3, for example. I'm sorry, your hippocampus. Um, and so as kids, we're not really taught to self-regulate. We're not. And this is why it's so important for parents to really create that externally for them, creating a kind, nurturing environment. But of course, parents have their own stresses to deal with. They also have to learn how to navigate their own emotional states, which they may not have been taught to do either by their parents. Right? So it becomes a generational thing, and the emotions that we experience have very real effects on an epigenetic level, right? They can turn genes off, they can turn genes on. They can turn on genes that promote disease. But with the right emotional states, you can also create epigenetic changes that turn off those genes. And in fact, turn on genes that are like promoting, like nourishing. Now, emotions in and of themselves are not bad. And this is one of the key takeaways I hope you guys get from this today. Emotions are neither good nor bad. Ultimately, I want you to just have a slight shift in perspective when it comes to emotions, because what emotions really truly do is just give us indicators of our state. When you're in a place of stress or anxiety, it's simply telling you that, okay, there's something in my environment that's causing this, right? Something needs to be corrected. Something needs to be balanced out. What can I do, right? They point us. They're pointers. All that's all emotions are. They're pointers for us, right? And we have so much agency over that we just give away. You can create your own emotional states anytime. All your emotions, all the joy and the happiness, as well as all the stress and the anger and the resentment, is present inside you at all times, right? But you can choose what you want to feel, but you can't force it. And you certainly can't just do a total 180, because you'll feel incoherent with that. There's going to be a lack of congruence, right? Like your body will know something's up. It's not really about that. Um, Emotions are neither good or bad, because even something like anger may be pointing to you, maybe expressing inside you, maybe trying to bring your awareness and attention to the fact that maybe there's someone that's doing wrong by you. It could be a very justified form of anger, right? Now, the only true emotion that I would say that is bad is the emotion left unexpressed. We all do this. We all have a tendency to suppress and repress all our emotions and to distract ourselves with binging on Netflix or food. I've been guilty of that, absolutely. You know, some people resort to other things. For different people, it'll be different things. And especially if it's a traumatic experience, most people who develop any kind of OCD type behaviors or addictions usually have had moments of trauma in their lives. And our emotions wire memories into our very biology, into our physiology, into our cells. Our bodies remember everything. And so it's important to allow those things that get stored to find release, to find expression. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that if you're angry, you go and you act on those angry impulses, that which more often than not lead to very poor decisions, right? But it's finding ways to allow the anger to be there, to allow the anger to pass through. And I've said this on previous videos, but emotions tend to have a lifespan of, it could be anywhere between 30 and 90 seconds, right? And instead of immediately maybe acting on a certain emotion, we observe it, we watch it, we create a distance between ourselves and the emotion, because again, the emotion is just there to point us to something. It's trying to bring our focus and attention to something. But we get so caught up with it, we identify with it, we start to beat ourselves up for feeling it because we don't like feeling bad, and we get angry at ourselves for feeling angry. It turns into a spiral. It just turns into this insanely terrible loop of negativity, or negative emotions perpetuating more negative emotions, right? Or the desire or the craving that we wish things were otherwise, which then of course just makes us feel even worse, because now we're bringing our awareness to the thing that we don't have, right? Whether it's peace, a sense of peace or joy or happiness, or maybe our financial situations, like we start to feel bad about the thing that we see as missing inside us in our lives. Emotions are just there to point us to something. Let's try to start to develop mindful awareness around what we're experiencing, what we're feeling, because the better we get at that, and this is why I'm planning to really teach these skills with those I work with, because developing mindfulness and awareness around what you're currently experiencing, you can take a break, take a moment, take a pause right now. Just pause this video and tune into what you're feeling. Tune into what your body is feeling physically. Just bring awareness to different parts of the body. Start noticing. Like, that's all you have to do, is to train yourselves, is to notice and bring awareness to it. Why? Because if you can notice what's coming up inside you, guess what? You can do something about it and not have that be the thing that guides your decision making. Okay? So what do? We bring awareness to it, right? B, we acknowledge it. We let it be. We don't hate on it. We don't feel bad about feeling bad. And then allowing that space to be there between you and the emotion, you start observing it from a distance, that emotion passes through, right? So instead of you maybe acting impulsively, maybe instead of immediately trying to distract yourselves, suppress it, repress it, you allow it to be. And that's, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's simply just watching and observing and allowing it to be fully felt and expressed, and then move through. Guys, repress emotions. There's a great researcher, Candace Perkin, I believe her last name was. She demonstrates, right, how repressed emotions downregulate our immune functions, they suppress our mood. Believe it or not, they limit blood flow to the brain. So how's your brain gonna have clarity, energy, without blood and oxygen and nutrients flowing in? Right? Which then, of course, creates a very negative feedback loop, because guess what? A brain that's not fully optimized, well, it can't make those decisions. It can't stay focused or mindful. It can't do these things that will actually get you out of that, right? Out of that perpetual spiral, out of that pattern of behavior and pattern of thinking. So we have to learn how to first bring awareness to our emotions. The only bad emotion, again, is the one left unexpressed, the one that we don't allow ourselves to feel fully. So emotions, learning to watch them, learning to allow them to be. So because then we get into a neutral place, and then we can actually start to just think and feel very positive, good, health promoting, immune supporting thoughts and feelings. You shift your focus to gratitude. You shift your focus to love. You can engage in what I'm calling neurosizes, exercises for the brain, for your neurology, for your biology. I'm calling them neurosciences, even though they're really just ancient forms of practice, like meditation and mindfulness. But of course, there's so many connotations around those terms. So I'm trying to move away from calling it that. But there's very real biochemical changes that happen when you actually allow yourselves to feel these things. I mean, even just having a sense of I'm loved and I'm cared for releases oxytocin, right? The bonding chemical, that chemical that moms feel when they're in close contact with their babies, that babies feel when they're in close contact with their mothers. Oxytocin, that feel good, happy bonding chemical, we can create inside of ourselves just with the power of our own thoughts and emotions. There's so many videos that I plan to shoot talking about just the level of change we can evoke inside of our bodies just using our thoughts and our emotions. It's insane. I mean, I'll just give you one example. They took a group of elderly gentlemen, right? And they had them actually be and act as their younger selves. So they put them in an environment where they're like little glass milk bottles all over the place. Like they recreated their environment. So the environment they would have known growing up as children, right? And so they told them to just engage in the activities they did when they were younger, in their 20s, playing the sports they were playing, doing this and doing that and doing this, and like actually just being in that state. So they brought them back with their thoughts and their emotions into that place. After this study was done, they took, they did a test before and they did tests after, and they measured their blood pressure. They measured all these different markers of longevity and health, and there were improvements across the board. And in fact, they took photos of the guys before and after, and then they had these taken to groups, and they did a study to see if people could tell which one was the before and after, right? Because in one photo, the guys looked a little younger. The other one, they looked a little older. Almost unanimously, everyone got it wrong. Because the photos they took afterwards, all the guys looked younger. And people thought, well, that can't be right. We change our biology. Our cells listen to the information that's coming in. We make that information, we're the ones who can channel that. We're the ones who can have complete agency over the kind of information that's getting fed to ourselves, with the thoughts we're thinking, with the emotions we're feeling. But it starts with awareness. It starts with learning how to slow down, give yourselves time for pause, and pay attention to what's going on. Because you can't change what you're not conscious of, right? More often than not, we're acting on autopilot, so we're not even aware of what's going on, right? So that is what I wanted you guys to just really hear today. And it's empowering, right? Like wherever you are right now, you can shift that. And it just starts with paying attention. So do that today. Do that for this week. Set timers throughout the day and just check in with yourselves. What am I feeling right now? Can I ask yourself this question? Can I just let myself feel this? See what happens. Because down the road, I'm going to teach you guys how to actually start to really reframe situations and really repattern all this wiring in our brains and our bodies to really live better lives. Fuller, clearer, purpose-driven, meaningful lives. Because that's my mission. And with that, guys, wishing you much love. Have a great day. Peace.